Every bit helps.
Hello and welcome to another Parkrun video. I'm back at Shelley Parkrun in sunny Perth, Western Australia. I'm halfway through my current marathon build, which is a little bit scary. Every 4 weeks I do a fitness test of some sort, and today obviously that fitness test is an all-out 5K. So with these tests I normally have a few goals. One of them is mental training. So I've spoken about this a lot on my other videos where I'm just a huge fan of the mental training that these all-out efforts provide. There's just nothing like doing an all-out effort and just practicing fighting, getting used to being in pain, all that good stuff. So there's the mental side of it. Obviously the physical side, to do a fitness test, to see where it's at, to see, if the training's being effective. But also, I like to run through my kind of race day routines to fine tune that, because that's the only way I've found, in order to find what fueling and all that stuff we do before races, in order to find what works, you just have to do it. So for these time trials, I go through everything, which includes the clothes. So I have clothes that I only wear on race day. I've got running tights that I only wear on a race day, running vest, all that stuff, which might seem a bit silly, but I really find it helps to just get my mind in the right frame of mind that this isn't a training run, this is business time. Time to switch on, time to enter that pain cave and stay in there. So I find all these little things really add up to just helping to get the best out of me. So I go through all the clothes that I only wear for races, and also my morning routine beforehand in terms of eating and everything. Which means, so this parkrun starts at 8 a.m, which I wish they start earlier actually in Australia in the summer. I wish they start at 7 because it gets pretty warm at around 8 a.m. But it starts at 8, so I get up at 4:30 a.m. to eat, because I find that I need at least 3 hours prior to the start of the race if I'm going to be eating a full meal. So I wake up at 4:30 a.m, I eat a full breakfast, about 120 grams of carbs in that, and then I start loading with sodium bicarbonate and beetroot juice, or beetroot powder in my case. And that, I'm 100% convinced that it works. If you're a regular on this channel, you know that I've been testing sodium bicarb for a good few months now, and I am 100% convinced that it just works. And not just over short distances. I've found that every single time, without fail, that I take sodium bicarb, I perform about 1.5% to 2% better. So it 100% works. I haven't been using it in training though, and that's purely for the practical reasons, because now I'm back at work, it's no longer holidays. It would mean I'd have to be getting up at kind of 2:30, 3 a.m, which is silly. That's obviously not going to work. So I haven't been using it in training, but I do like to use it for these kind of all-out efforts and race day. So I go through all of that. I go through my routine in terms of warm-up. And it just helps to kind of simulate race day, because I think the more you can practice that, the more comfortable you're going to be when it's an actual race. So I think just coming through the first K here in 3:42, which is great. So this is right on track for a time PB, and I didn't put it there, but the average power for the first K was 366 watts. So a little bit hot. But that's okay. I'm still feeling good at this point. Now, unfortunately, as you can see, this turned out to be a bit of a solo run. There were guys that were a lot quicker than me here, but I spoke to one of them. He's a kid, actually. He's quick. You've seen him on the other two videos, actually, and was chatting to him beforehand, and he was kind of saying that he really struggles in the heat, so he was just going for a sub 20 today. So I'm out all by myself in the front. So it's even more of a mental battle, but that's okay. But I'm actually going to do a bit of a spoiler today. I'm going to reveal not that it's very exciting, but I'm going to reveal my final time and average power, because I want to talk about some stuff. So I ended up hitting exactly my target. I averaged exactly 360 watts over the run, which is awesome. That's a 5-watt power PB for me. And I finished with a time of 18:52. which is quite far off my PB of 1846. So how did that happen, you might ask? How am I averaging 5 watts more, which is quite a lot, and finishing 7 seconds slower? So I'll just get some numbers up. So up here you can see the last 3 times I've done all-out efforts on this exact course. So this is exactly the same course, in the same shoes, everything the same, just obviously different days. The first one there, which you can see is September last year, so a few months ago, two big differences with that one. That was in the springtime, so you can see the weather there is much better for running, 9 degrees Celsius. So that's a big factor. But also, what I want to talk a little bit about is that weight and body fat. So you can see there my weight in September last year was 75.4 kilos, and I was coming in at 13.3% body fat. Now for that body fat measurement, I don't know how accurate it is, and I don't really care. The important thing is that it's just consistent. So I use some relatively cheap, smart scales that send a electromagnetic pulse through your body and whatever. I don't really care how accurate it is, so long as it's consistent with itself. So it put me at 13.3% body fat back in September. Now this was prior to my marathon that I ran in October. So I was in really good shape. I was feeling good at this point and was pretty lean. So 75.4 kilos, 13.3% body fat. That was the day that I ran my 5K PB. I averaged 355 watts over that run, and my watts per kilo, which is that is a massive metric. That's kind of what it all comes down to, watts per kilo. So the watts per kilo for that run was 4.71 watts per kilo. So then the marathon happened. I ran the marathon in October. I'm not going to go through that story again. Not ideal going into it, blew up big time. And afterwards, really let myself go. I went on an eating rampage, put on a lot of weight, lost a lot of fitness, partly because I had to. I was really struggling with runner's knee. But anyway, so the next all-out 5K I did on this exact course was, is it 2 months ago, 1 month ago? My brain's gone dead. About a month and a half ago. So 14th of December, so that's summertime here in Perth, Western Australia. You can see the weather is very different. So the weather there was 23 degrees Celsius. So that is very different to the 9 degrees last time. So that's already going to make it much harder because weather has a huge impact on running performance, especially for, a bigger bloke like me. I mean, I'm not big, I'm pretty short, but, I'm not a little rake. So the weather was much less favorable, and we're looking at that weight. I'm a lot heavier, so nearly 2 kilos heavier. And body fat had gone up to 13.8%. That day I averaged 355 watts again, and just coming through the second K there, averaging 344 on this current run. So 342, 344, still feeling good at this stage. 77.25 kilos, 13.8% body fat. And I ran an 1847, which I was quite surprised with. That's pretty quick considering I was so much heavier, and my average power was actually exactly the same as the last one. So that was a bit of a surprise, and I'm guessing maybe the wind was more favorable that day or something. I don't know, because I'm significantly heavier, nearly 2 kilos, but ran pretty much the same time with the same power. So go figure. It must have come down to wind, whatever. And then today, I've got the stats of that up. So 8th of February, pretty much identical weather to my last all-out effort. So just turning around the halfway point there. On the way back, so psychologically, I don't know, I always get a bit of a lift at this point because you're on the home stretch. I've done halfway, starting to go past the other runners, and it's really good. Just as you're starting to hurt at this point, everyone's really encouraging because you chat to the guys beforehand and you kind of talk about your goals for the run. And I obviously mentioned mine. I said to them, I'm hoping if things go well for an 18:30. Obviously I missed that by a mile. We'll talk about why in a moment. But I actually was bang on my power target. So yeah, it was really great getting a bit of a pickup because everyone's kind of cheering you on. But anyway, the run today, 23 degrees, 78.7 kilos, which is really disappointing. If you've been watching my last few videos, you'll know that one of the things I'm really trying to focus on is losing weight, and I'm going backwards. Now, I know weight fluctuates a lot. This morning, so by the way, all these weights are taken just as I step out the door before the race. So this morning it was at 78.7. I don't really know why, because yesterday when I measured myself, I was 77. So there's a lot of fluctuation between weight, but this is what I was this morning, 14.2% body fat. So yeah, as I said, ended up averaging 360 watts for the run, but finished quite a lot slower, 1852. There was quite a strong headwind actually, so you'll see these splits start to slow down now, because coming back, yeah, I mean, it wasn't crazy wind, but it was certainly noticeable. And talking to the other runners, like everyone noticed that wind. It was definitely there on the way back. And you know, that's one of the reasons why it's so good to run with power. Because if I was only looking at time, I'd see that 1852 and I'd probably chuck a huge sad, because I'm like, oh man, I've been working so hard. I'm 2 months into my marathon block and I'm going backwards. I didn't even get the same time. But actually, I did get quite a big PB. I averaged 5 watts more across the whole run. But because the conditions weren't as favorable, it just wasn't a time PB. So it's really great to have, I guess, that metric which levels the playing field, because using the Stride foot pod, it actually measures the wind and takes that into account. So there we go. And that all-important number there, you can see today my watts per kilo was only 4.57. So interesting. My fitness apparently has improved. I'm averaging more power, which is awesome. And if I can shed some body fat, oh, there we go. So just coming through the third K there. So you can see that wind is having an effect. That third K, 349. And the power's staying pretty consistent. I'm holding it together. Definitely starting to hurt at this point. You can see my heart rate, 174, which is pretty close to my max. My max in recent times is about 177, 178. So yep, I am definitely hurting at this point, as you could probably hear in the breathing. But yes, so from today, I'm trying to be encouraged, because that average power, which is what I'm concerned with, was definitely higher, so that is awesome. But it's just really frustrating that I am getting slower. My running effectiveness is going down, my times are going down, because I'm having trouble losing weight, which is really bizarre, because my mileage is starting to get up there now. I haven't actually checked, but I'm pretty sure I'm at about 130, 140 Ks a week now, and that's going to keep increasing. So across this next block, I'm going to do a 4-week build before a little taper and fitness test. So by the end of this coming block, I expect to be around 150, 160 Ks a week, which is a lot of mileage, and I have been eating pretty clean. If you've seen, I can't remember which video it was, but one of the videos in my low-hanging fruit series where I discuss my attempts to lose weight, I have had a couple of binges lately. Haven't been able to completely stop those, but in general, my diet is really clean, and I've been very conscious that I still do need to fuel properly to support the training, because my mileage is starting to increase. I need to recover. I need to stay injury-free. But anyway, that's just a constant challenge. But if I can lose some weight in this next little block, if I can bring that body fat percentage down and maintain the muscle mass, then I'm hoping that I can still, because, you know, at this point, I'm actually a little bit worried that I might not even get a PR in the marathon, which is so we're 9 weeks out from my next race, April 13th. At this point, I am actually a little concerned that I might even not get a PR, which, I'm not going to lie, I would be absolutely gutted, because I've sacrificed so much training like I'm training, working so hard, yeah, it's like psychologically, I'm not going to lie, it's been pretty tough lately. I have been expecting to make a lot more progress than I have. But, I mean, the signs are there. The fitness is improving. Never before have I averaged 360 watts across a 5K. If I can lose weight, if I can get down to around 74, maybe even in the 73s, then maybe I'll be on for sub 3. I mean, again, if you've been following this channel, I went for sub 3 last October, and I was in pretty close shape to that before things started going wrong in the taper period. I reckon I was pretty close to sub 3, not quite there. I reckon if I ran the race better and didn't blow up, I probably could have done a 304, 305 on the day, I think. So in my mind, I should easily be able to do sub 3 this one, because it's 6 months after that last race, and just coming through the 4th K here at 349 again. So I think it was a little bit uphill maybe this one as well. So we've got the headwind uphill, 349. I am suffering at this point, obviously. Always suffering the 5K. So pulling out all of the psychological tricks at this point. Obviously I've got that voice shouting at me to give up, to stop. This could all be over now. You know, it's made harder because I'm the only one. I'm out here by myself. All those thoughts start to come into my head, like, you don't even have to be doing this, blah, blah, blah. So, you know, we get better at dealing with that. So on this particular run today, I was thinking, okay, you want to give up, that's okay. Can you just do one more lap of the track? Okay, great, let's do that. And then we can talk about quitting. So I'd run another 400 meters, and I get there and I think, okay, I did that. So that means, can I do another one? Can I do another 400 meters? Okay, I'll try that. It sounds very simple, but that's what I was doing to get through this. I was hurting, and aware that the pace is slowing down. I think that's always a bit of a bummer. You know, it doesn't give you that pickup that you need, because again, it's all mental games. When you're on the edge like this, and your body's screaming at you, it's all mental games. So you can see the pace has dropped quite a lot. I'm kind of at, you know, below threshold pace now, 308 per K. Yep, in Suffertown. Anyway, going back to what I was saying. Yeah, so I was expecting fully to easily go sub 3 in this next marathon. And you know what? That's looking pretty unlikely that I'll even break sub 3 now. Yeah, and I'm just trying to be reasonable about it, because I can't expect to have these beginner gains all the time. Like, when I started running, it was just exciting. Every single time I test, I'd be making like massive leaps. But I think I'm at the point now where I'm still making progress. It's just a lot slower. But I guess I am disappointed that the progress has slowed down at this point. I was really hoping progress would start slowing when I was kind of sub 245 in the marathon. Maybe that was just an unrealistic expectation. But the annoying thing is, if I can lean up, I know that, you know, that those times are going to drop significantly. I believe my racing weight should be around 69, 68 kilos. I'm obviously miles off that now. But I think I just need to forget about it, because I'm doing almost everything I can do. If I can get my binging under control, which doesn't happen often, but it does still happen. If I can get that under control, hopefully I'll lean up, and it's going to happen naturally. There we go. Across the line. Final time, 18:52. Average power, 360 watts. But yeah, as you could probably tell, I've just been struggling with trying to reframe things so that I can stay motivated when I'm not really seeing the gains that I was expecting, especially with things like losing weight. But I'll keep at it. I'll keep going, keep showing up, keep doing the things that I know are going to help. And I just have to trust the process, and I know that I will improve. So anyway, thanks for sticking around, and I will see you in the next one.